Adam, thanks so much for being with us. Please introduce yourself and tell me what you do.
Yeah, my name is Adam Coop. I'm a pastor, one of the pastors at Whitewater Christian Church.
And how long have you been working here?
It'll be 9 years in September. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And when did Whitewater Church start and were they always in the Civic Center?
9 years ago we started. We actually planted 9 years ago here in Laramie, and we were initially in the high school, the old high school auditorium.
Okay, yeah, a lot of people, I guess, started that way and then moved over this way.
Yep.
And how has I know you have an office here, but you do other things in the building. So describe, in terms of the Civic Center, what you do in the rooms here.
Yeah, so we have our office space here, and then we use the Griffin Theater on Sunday mornings and the gymnasium across from the Griffin Theater. And then we also use some of the Abundance Creative Arts daycare facility for our kids' space and everything else. We have been trying to figure out how we can be the best neighbors we can be. And so anytime we find out that anybody needs help within the building, whether it's assembling office furniture, painting their offices. There was one time where Melissa had 5 tenants move out. She was visibly stressed, and we said, "How can we help you?" And she said, "I have to paint 5 rooms by tomorrow." And we just said, "Let us help. Let us come and help you with whatever we can." And so we kind of just go and do anything that we possibly can in the building just to be good neighbors and just to love neighbors and be good neighbors. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I know also that some of the equipment in the Griffin is yours that you...
Right, yeah. When we came, we saw the Griffin had an incredible light show, thanks to Dave and his expertise, and we said, "You're missing a sound system, so we'd love to just set up, and you guys can use it for any events that you need it for, and it will work for throughout the week, and we just use it on Sundays, and so we want to see it used all the time." And so I think it's been utilized well in there, and definitely used by a lot of different groups and people.
So what denominations are we talking about? Is there an umbrella that people would fit under?
We are a non-denominational church, so we don't have a hierarchy like Catholicism or anything like that would govern us. We govern ourselves. And so we are under the non-denominational denomination, I guess.
Sure.
All self-governing, yeah. Uh-huh.
So when people come on Sunday, what would they see? I mean, how does it go?
When people would come on Sunday, I'm a tattooed man, and so they would feel very comfortable. What I'm dressed in today is shorts and a t-shirt, and that's what you would see on a Sunday morning. We do rock and roll music. It's very not your traditional style worship music at all. And so we do that. Got a great kids program. It looks like a church. It's just a little different than probably your typical church here in Laramie. So, yeah.
Okay. And so you mentioned you're not the only pastor. Can you describe a little bit of your team?
Yeah, Craig is my associate. We're just a small team, but Craig is my associate, and big bearded guy, motorcycle. You've probably seen him around town, but he's there. He's my associate, my discipleship pastor, and then we have another team of people that help lead the church that are around as well, and they're business owners and principals, and some are retired. Some are running companies here in town. It's just a cool collective of people. So.
And if you go to your website, I mean, there's a calendar just full of events. And what were some of the events that you guys do?
Yeah, throughout the week we get together and meet. Community is a big thing for us, and so we do couples groups, which the couples group actually is just centered around food. They do themed weeks with food, and they just get together and eat and just enjoy each other's company. We also have studies on Wednesday mornings. Coffee with Oswald is what that's called, and it's short devotional, scripture-based, and get you off to work in time. We do a Friday night thing for college students. Again, huge meal, and college kids just gather and hang out. Throughout the week, we also do snacks. Sunday night after church is what it's called, and it's for our junior high youth, and they meet at parks and just community. It's all about community. So anything that brings us together, whether it's food, guns, motorcycles, any of that, man, that's what we're into.
Okay. So Adam, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your background. I mean, how did you get into this, and when did you get the calling?
Sure. I am a pastor's kid. I'm a third generation pastor.
Huh?
And so it started with my grandfather, who, oddly enough, back in the day was looking at going into communism.
Okay, sure.
And that was not a good time for being a communist. That was an ugly time.
Right.
And so what communism meant then versus what it means Yeah.
Right.
Or what it could mean. I don't know. Scratch that. But he was looking to go into communism, and he met Jesus actually at that pivotal time in his life, and he became a Jesus lover and a Jesus follower. And so his faith was played out in a very real way that I saw my parents, my dad specifically. He understood what that looked like. You know, it was a very real love that was played out. And so that of course trickled down in my family. My father, followed Jesus, and as a result of that, I watched my own parents the same thing. Just the real love of Jesus lived out in their life made sense to me. It wasn't a false, concept or something I really
Sure.
had to, is this real? Is this true? And so, as a result of that, myself and even my brother is a pastor in Nebraska, and my dad pastors in Oklahoma, and so that's kind of what got me into it. I was called into it. I have a 4-year degree through Bible College in Nebraska, and when I graduated, they said, "Well, where are you going to go, church-wise?" And I said, "I'll go where I'm called." And that calling didn't happen until 2 years after that. And I got a call from a planter, a church planter. That means they just go and they start a church in an area that needs a church, that they felt needed a different kind of church even. And so they go and they plant churches, and so Laramie was one of the spots. And I really didn't know what I was signing up for or getting into, but it didn't matter with that calling being placed there. It was just a matter of saying yes and going.
All right. So although technically you're not necessarily the founder, you're essentially the founder of this.
Right, yeah, one of the
organization.
founders, yeah. So there was
Okay.
3 of us that started initially, and then the founder left about 4 years in, and then that's when I took over officially.
Okay.
So.
And this, and again, you've been here 9 years. What changes have you seen at the Civic Center and the things that go on here? And there's so many different organizations in this building.
Yeah, so the Civic Center for us, when I first moved to town, there was a church already meeting in the Griffin Theater called Emmaus Road.
Oh.
And I was just drooling over the space here and just saying, man, I'd love to meet here. But at that point, it was impossible. We've only been here in the Civic Center about 3 years. And so we've seen many changes within the Civic Center, big changes. Head Start moved out that had been here, I think they said 30 years or something like that. But every time someone moves out, there's a new organization that moves in. And that's something that I marvel at about the Civic Center, is it's just a hub for help for the community of Laramie, and help and entertainment even, bands just rent out places here, artists rent out places here. It's just a beautiful space to create and to create ways in how we love Laramie and how we serve Laramie. And so this building is just full of that, and it's just precious to me to see that exists here, all in almost one giant pocket in almost every office of this building. So, yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to ask you is if people wanted to get in touch with you or find you or the website and more information, how do they get to you?
Yeah, whitewaterchristian.com is us. You'll find any information about that there. We also have Facebook too. You'll find us at Whitewater Christian on Facebook, I think. I'm not sure what the tagline is, but you search it up, you'll find it.
Okay.
So,
Okay, Adam,
yeah.
thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah.